Okay, so I feel pretty good now. We took 2 days to look at multiplication and the powers. All right, so today we're going to learn kind of like the final rule. And there's kind of 2 rules we're going to learn today, which is division and exponents that are negative. And exponents that are negative. So again, before we get started, I'd like for you to just listen and let your brain absorb the new information. All right? So kind of just sit down, kind of just let me show you a few things. All right? And I've been trying to show you this week how to kind of, if you forget the rules, try to figure out a way to figure out what the rules actually are. All right? So when I write something like this, all right, if I write something, for example, and again, you don't have to write this down, just listen. If I write something x cubed divided by x squared, everybody should be able to tell me that's obviously what? Hey, Dalton, what do you want? All right, what is it?
X to the negative fifth.
What do you think?
X to the first.
What do you think?
X to the first.
All right, we're going to find out exactly who is correct. Go ahead. Doesn't bother me. So how do you figure that out? All right. So this is what I used to do when I forget the rules or I wasn't 100% sure. What does x cubed actually mean?
X times X times X.
Yes. So it means x times x times x. And what does x squared mean?
X times X.
X times x. So look how simple this problem actually is. All right. Now it's just a fraction problem. All right, if I said, what is x divided by x, you would tell me that is what?
X.
Whoa, got a lot to learn today, guys. Anything divided by itself is what? 1. So if I said 5 divided by 5, you would say 1. If I said 10 divided by 10, you would say 1. If I say x divided by x, you would say 1. So this x divided by x would be what? 1. All right, and then of course 1 times 1 is just what? So your answer is just what? X. All right. So now, hopefully you've discovered the rule for division. All right. Multiplication, we did what to the exponents? Add them. So division, you're probably going to what? Subtract them. All right. So when we subtract, obviously, the answer would have been x to the 3 minus 2, which is x to the first power.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
All right, perfectly good sense. All right, now let's try something else, a little bit harder. If I said, what is x squared divided by x cubed? You would probably tell me that it is x to the negative 1. That's a good answer. All right, but let's really see what it is. All right, x times x, x times x times x. And when I cancel things out, I end up with what? I don't end up with 1. No. I end up with 1 over x. I end up with 1 over x. All right. Now, somebody said x to the negative 1. Guess what? Those are the same. 1 over x is the same as x to the negative 1. But we're going to figure out why. I want to show you why that's true. All right, because for whatever reason, negative exponents is really difficult for kids. I don't know why. All right, probably because they don't understand numbers very well. So I want you to watch. So it's very simple to explain. Very simple to explain. All right. So here we go. We're fine. All right. So we have now this. If I said to you 2 to the 4th, I'm sure you could tell me 2 to the 4th was what? 16. Right? If I said 2 to the 3rd, you could probably tell me it's what? 8. If I said 2 squared, you could probably tell me it's... All right, so here's how they are figuring out rules. Rules are just patterns. That's all. That's how they figured it all out. All right? So from here to here, we did what? And from here to here, we did what? So now if I said what's 2 to the 1st, you could tell me it's what?
2.
That's how they determined anything to the first power is itself. Anything to the first power is itself. All right, now the next problem. 2 to the 0. Now, before you say something, it's always better to think before you speak. So because you can follow rules, you obviously know that 2 to the 0 is the same as what? 1, of course. All right, so that's how they figured out that anything to the 0 power is always what? 1. So if I said x to the 0, you would tell me it's what? 1. If I said 10 to the 0, you'd tell me it is 1. All right, now the hard part. All right, again, requires you to think. 2 to the negative 1. 2 to the negative 1. You're following patterns, so it is 1/2. Beautiful. For those of you guys who are thinking about it. Most people say there's a negative involved. There is no negative involved. All right? The exponent has nothing to do with whether it's positive or whether it's negative. All right? I'm simply following the pattern. The pattern was divide by 2. So if I take 1 and divide it by 2, I get the fraction 1/2. All right? Now, if we continue the pattern, I said, what is 2 to the negative 2? That would be 1/4, which is the same as 1 over 2 squared. So what does that tell me? That tells me when you have a negative exponent, to convert it to a positive exponent, you just move it down to the what? Denominator. Is everybody with me on this? All right? So anytime you're negative, your exponent is negative, all you do is move it. All right, now what does that mean? I'll give you one more example, and then we'll go off to the races. If I said to you, x to the negative 3 over y to the negative 4, what does that simplify to? Now, for whatever reason, in the future, you'll be able to write in negative exponents, but when you're in Algebra 1, they say no negative exponents. All right, so if you're not allowed to have negative exponents, then how would I simplify that? What is the answer is what I'm asking. Give it a shot. Good. No. You can't combine x and y's are different. Patrick, tell us.
X to the 4th power and y to the 3rd power.
Ooh. There's no negative exponents, but you change the variables.
X to the 3rd power over y to the 4th power. Work with. Ooh.
Wow. No. Come on now, what is the rule? I just told you the rule. When you have a negative exponent, you do what? You move it. So look, this right here is a negative exponent. So what am I going to do to that? I'm going to move it here. And then the exponent becomes what? Positive. And then I take this, and what do I do with that? Move it up. And when I move it up, it becomes a positive. That's all there is to it. That's how simple. If your exponent is negative, you move it. All right? If it's in the numerator, it goes to the what? Denominator. Now, for those of you guys like, oh my gosh, how did they figure that out? Let me just show you something real quick. All right? Because I do think it's important that you understand that there is a real simple way to deal with that. All right? So what I want to do is I want to show you that again. All right? So if I have x to the negative 3 over y to the negative 4, here's how you're supposed to handle it. You're supposed to say x to the negative 3 is the same as 1 over x cubed. Does everybody agree with that? Mm-hmm. And then that would be over 1 over y to the 4th. Does everybody agree with that? Yeah. Now, does everybody agree this is just dividing fractions, right? Mm-hmm. So you would say 1 over x cubed divided by 1 over y to the 4th. Does everybody agree with that? Mm-hmm. So when you divide fractions, we say you multiply by the, which is y to the 4th over x cubed. Everybody see that now? So you can do that, or you can just say what? If there's a negative exponent, we just do what? We just change. All right, does everybody see that? So of course that is the math. All right, that's the math. All right, now what I'm going to do now is we're going to start going down and doing the odds. I'm not asking you to write the original problem down. All right, I'm going to just ask you to tell me what the answer is. And you write that answer on your paper. Because today we're going to do the, tomorrow we're going to do the very important lesson. We very rarely spend 2 days on a lesson. All right, but this is super important. All right, for everything that's coming up, you have to understand the exponents. All right, so now, everybody, number one, we'll just go around the room. I want to see who's listening. All right, so write down the answer to number one. And then Michael can tell me what the answer is.
It's t to the third over u to the third.
Bless you. Any questions with that? Everybody good with that? Right? Come on now. How did I do it? Come on. That's what I'm saying. You're smart enough to make that. All right? Remember, if there's no exponent, make it a 1. What?
You want us to write it as 2?
I want you to write that as the answer. That's what I want you to write. Come on, man. That's the answer. If I wanted you to write something different, guess what? I'd write it something different. You with me? You know that. All right, easy. Anybody have any questions? All right, Catalina, you're up. Number 3, tell me what the answer is. Yeah, quiet down some, okay? That's it. That's exactly correct. All right. So p to the third divided by p to the third just cancels out. Now, I don't want you to say it's 0. It really is a what? 1. But 1 times anything stays the same. Now, is it important to have m to the first power? No, it's not wrong. But it's just unnecessary. If you put m to the first, I'm perfectly fine with that. All right? All right, Charlotte, you want to give it a shot?
Oh, wait, no. Just G.
Nothing to it. Does everybody agree? Any issues? Yes, good for you. With what?
Why did you do 8
Now, again, sometimes they put them out of order just to make sure you're paying attention. What?
why would you put
Listen to me. Listen. What I want you to do is explain to me where you're having a problem. Shh. Not why shouldn't I do this? What do you disagree with? Shh. Come on. Stay focused.
2 divided by 1
Where are you seeing a 2?
on the 8?
What is the rule for exponents? What do you do? When you multiply, you add. When you divide, you... Are we dividing? So what are you having an issue with now? Because you just told me the rule.
Okay,
Come on now, listen to me. Hear me now. What I'm trying to get everybody to do in here, listen, everybody, this goes for everybody, is if I tell you the answer is g to the first, and I have an 8 and a 7, what did I have to do? The only way to make a 1 with 8 and 7 is to do what? Subtract. You're supposed to be able to come up with that conclusion. I'm not going to write anything incorrectly. Well, 99.9% of the time will be correct. All right? So then H, I'm looking at a 2 and a 1. That's how I got the 1. You see what I'm saying, right? So you guys all have to be able to make conclusions. All right? You all have to make conclusions. All right. Number 7. Miss Fidela, you're up. Wow. X, Y, and Z. Any issues? Anybody have any issues with that?
Could you put it as X, Y? What is it?
So listen, generally what we do is we write in alphabetical order. All right? But if you put X, Z, Y, I wouldn't mark it wrong. I would just know you're not listening to me. Alphabetical order. All right? And you'll always see me sometimes going A, B, C, D, E because I'm trying to get the order. All right? So I know some of you don't know the order. All right? But you know the alphabet. So try to put it in alphabetical order. All right, let's check out number 9 now. All right. Miss Miller, you're up. This is what we did yesterday, so this should be simple. And what is that? Thank you. Yeah, but what is that? Wow, very good. And then? Why 6? Thank you. 9. Perfect. Any question? What?
I thought when you had
No, tell me. I don't want to hear why you did it wrong. What's the question? What's the question?
I thought that you would add the 3 and the 2.
Well, I can't help that. What are we supposed to do? There you go. All right, so correct your thoughts. I can't correct your thoughts for you. Power to power, multiply. Power to power, multiply. When you multiply, what do? Add. When you divide, you?
Subtract.
Now that sounds weird because when you multiply, you're supposed to multiply. But I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about what? Exponents. Keep that in mind. All right, number 11. All right. Is not an answer. And of course, you can tell me that is what? No, she's going to do it. She makes 100 on every test. I'm sure she's comfortable with 2 to the 5th. 32. That was quick. Thank you. 32. Then what? Uh-oh. Boy. 2 to the 5th took you a while. 5 to the 5th. I'll just help you.
Oh my.
Check me on that.
Yeah, it's correct.
That's correct.
Then what? G to the 10. Beautiful. Very good. 5 to the 5th. That was impressive. All right. Any questions with that? Now, on your calculator, for those of you guys who don't know that 5 to the 5th is 3125, you would do 5 caret 5. Does everybody know that? All right. The little caret button on your calculator, raise it to whatever power you would like. Yes. All right. Next. Uh-oh. This is the hard one. Shh. Quiet, please. 13. That's you. Shh, don't be sorry. Be careful. Wow, good job, girl. Anything to the 0 power is a 1. You can spend lots of time messing around with that. Or you can say anything to the 0 power is what? 1. Everything there is being raised to the 0 power. All right, so here we go. Isabel, did you do 1 yet? All right, you're up. 15. What do I need to do? Remember the rules for negative exponents. That's what you're fixing. Put your hand down. What? All you're doing is moving. So this goes where? That would be the denominator. And then what? That's correct. A, B, C, D, F, G, H. So let's put G first and then H second. Everybody okay with that? Any issues? Everybody agreeing? All right, here we go, Patrick. Let's have some fun, Patrick. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Fix the numbers first. 2/6. What does that reduce to? Am I not seeing? Hold up. Am I not seeing this right here? Shh, leave them alone. That's the toughest one we've done all year. 2 divided by 6. Shh. What fraction?
Oh, 1/3.
Yes. Don't worry, don't worry. I've done that many times. The fraction 1/3. 2/6 reduced to 1/3. Now listen, just for now, Patrick, here's what I want everybody to make sure you understand. I want you to work it out. All right? So right now, the thing we're going to do is we're going to move the negative exponents. You hear me? So a squared stays. But this goes where? That moves up. So we're going to write a cubed. Now, b to the negative 7 goes what? Down. So it would be b to the 7th with b squared, c to the 10th, and then, I want him doing it, c to the 3rd up here. All right, that should be the next step. That should be the next step. Now, hopefully you're getting a little bit more comfortable with the what? The positives and negatives. All right, so now you're just combining everything. So your final answer is, let's make a fraction. All right. A to the 5th, C to the 13th, that's how simple. Simple, simple. Everybody good with this? All right. Before I go to the hard stuff, we're going to let Luke help me out with 19.
So that's going to do M to the 2.
And then?
And then it's going to be P to the 1.
Yes, perfect. That's 19. Very easy. All right, Dalton. 1/4. So far, so good. Now, what would I have to do to m to the negative 3? Right? Does anything else really change? No. That's your answer. Am I good with that? Now's the time to speak up, guys. That was pretty easy, right? All right. 23. Michael.
So it's 9 x to the 2nd and y to the 8th. And then it's 25 and z to the 4th.
Easy, easy. Hubble, I want you to do 25. Shh. Good job. There you go. Thank you, buddy. That's exactly right. 1,000. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to go backwards now. I'm going to start at the very hard one. All right, we're going to work backwards now. All right, we're going to work backwards. And these are a little bit more complicated. All right, but really, is it any more complicated? No, it is not more complicated. Right? There's just more. That's all. If you stay consistent and you know the rules, the problems are simple. All right? So we're going to start with number 55. All right, Mr. Roby, you're up. First thing you notice is what?
Top is 1.
The top is 1. Now, what do you notice about the bottom? You have to move it all to the top. All right, so listen to what I'm saying now. So you should recognize right off the bat that this is 4x to the 0, y to the negative 4, z squared now. Look at that now. It's the first part. You want to ask a question right now. Anybody having an issue with that? Because this whole thing right here is a what? 1. This whole thing is being raised to a negative 2. So I'm going to move that, and when I move that, that changes that exponent. Does it change the exponent inside the parentheses? No, it does not. It does not. All right, because I'm not worried about that right now. I'm doing one thing at a time. All right, so now, carry on. Simplify this for me. 16 what? What happens to the x?
Oh, it's just 16.
Just 16. That goes away. Well, go ahead. Tell me what y would be. Y to the... Because you're multiplying. Don't be afraid. Yes. Yes. Negative 8. And then z to the... That's it. Everybody take a look at that. I'm not done. Put your hand down. Final answer. Tell me. 16z squared over. Yes. I don't think that's that hard. Put your hands down and listen. All right. There are several ways of doing it. All right. You can simplify inside the parentheses first. That's another way. I'm just showing you how it makes sense to me. How I think that's the logical way to do things, easiest way to do things. All right, some of you have your own little ways of doing things, and it's going to take you some time to come around to the way I'm thinking, which is perfectly fine. All right, but that's the strategy I want.
What happens to the 1 that was at the
1 times anything.
Oh.
Exactly. Right? All right, here we go. Now I'm going to pull 53 down. All right, so I probably would want you to copy number 53 down. Tyler, you ready? All right, buddy. Now, first thing you notice is it's to the what? So what do I have to do? Flip what? And the, yes, we have to flip both the numerator and the denominator. Everybody with me on this? So when I flip that, it's going to be this, equals, parentheses, 6x negative 2, y, z, negative 5, over negative 3, x to the negative 6, y to the negative 1, z to the negative 2 squared. You see that? Now what? Yeah, so what he's going to do, just to show you, he's going to simplify what's inside first, which I'm totally fine with that. So when I simplify what's inside, I get it what? You said, what's this? That is correct, negative 2. Now I like to put over 1 just for whatever reason. I don't want to lose my spot. Now what do I have to do to the x's? Flip them. And then this. Put that up to the numerator. So now I have y, and y. You agree with that? And then what do I do with the z's? Flip them too. So I'd have z to the 5th, z squared, squared. Everybody okay with that? And then what? Not a -4. +4, right? -2 squared is 4. Now, before we do that, though, because you simplified inside, we're going to finish simplifying inside. All right? So I'm going to take this, and we're going to leave it -2 over 1, but then what happens to x to the 6th and x squared? And that becomes x to the subtract. Yes, x to the 4th. And then what about the y's? Y times y is what? He knows. Y times y is what? What's the rule when you multiply? What do you do to exponents? That's correct. So it becomes what? Yes, y squared. That is correct. All right? And then what I want you to do is I want you to look at the z's. Tell me what's going on with the z's. Okay, and so that becomes what? Well, we leave it on the bottom, though. So it would be z cubed on the bottom. You with me? Z to the -3 could be on top, but we want positive exponents to put it on the bottom. Now you square everything, okay? Now when you square it, it's going to be -2 squared is what? Then it would be x to the then y to the z to the. Look how easy. That's pretty hard. All right, just following the rules though. All right, you got to practice. All right, you got to practice. So that was 53. I'm going to pull down 51 now. Let's take a look at 51. What do I do, Carson? What are you looking at right off the bat? Yes. Now, just to be sure, is everybody okay with h to the 0? That's just a what? So I don't have to do anything to that. Right, so he found it perfectly. He said we have a -3 here, so we're going to move that. So then this is going to be 2g cubed h -2 squared times g squared cubed. All right, now what do I do? That's right. So first thing is, what's 2 squared? 4. Then g to the, yes sir, h to the, good job, times, that is it. Agreed? Now if I multiply that, I'm going to get what? Well, this is a number 1 here. You multiply numbers. What is that? Yes. 4. G to the. Now what do I do? That's right. So your final answer is? Beautiful. That's it. Everybody good? That's not too bad. All right, let's check out 49. All right, Kian, let's see what you got.
So you have to flip both of these. Because there's
What am I flipping?
the negative. and
What am I
the-
flipping?
You're flipping the R to the R
Yeah.
negative 2.
All right, we're not flipping everything, right?
Yeah.
So let's start with the number here. What is that? Perfect. So 5. And what happens to q to the 0?
1.
So that's out. And then, so I would move r to the negative 2,
Down to the bottom.
right? And then I would do what to the t's?
You flip them there.
So I'd have what on the top?
2 squared.
And then,
2 is
yeah, I think that's pretty easy. So my final answer now.
5, 2, 4, 2 to the negative 2,
So where would that go?
the bottom.
And then what?
5, 2 is R to the 6. And 2 to the 2.
That's correct. Everybody feeling pretty good about that, right? That's not bad. All right. Let's pull 47. Well, I think I forgot you, didn't I? Yep, I did. Let's let Noel do number 47. And then I got you. So what do I do? What's your thoughts on this? Yep, you have to put the one on the bottom on the top. So 4k cubed m squared cubed 5k squared m negative 3 squared. All right. What's that? Yep, 64. Then k to the, how much? Then, yep, 5 squared. Tell me. I can barely hear you. Come on. 25. And then, okay. All right, so now listen, guys, don't bring out your calculator for 64 times 25. Let me show you how to do that in your head. All right? So does everybody agree that 16 times 4 is 64, right? In your head, you should be able to put 4 times 25 is what? So that answer is 1600. If somebody says, what's 64 times 25, I expect you to say it's 1600. And they'll go, oh my gosh, how did you know that? Right? That was really simple, right? Do you agree? You're just taking a 4 from 64, putting it to the 25. All right? Now, finish it off. And then what happens to the m's? And the m's cancel. Because when you multiply, you add exponents. 6 and negative 6 makes 0. Is everybody good with that? Right? What?
It's I did on calculator. It says 1536. So you're wrong.
4 cubed is what?
Oh no, I'm talking about the 64 times 25.
What is that?
It's 64. Oh shoot! 24. Oh,
All right, that's okay. I've been wrong once before, so. All right, I'm glad you're checking me. All right, just make sure you type in the calculator correctly. All right, here we go. That was 47. Okay, here we go. Let me look at what? 45. Okay, I don't think we need that to bring that down. All right, Reed. Tell me 45. Shh.
Okay. So you want to move. It's a fraction, so you can change that to negative 1/3.
That's correct. Negative 1/3.
And then so that'll be 12. But then you want to move the negative 1 because
No, only the exponents if they're negative.
So then,
So now all you're doing is you're just telling me what is this?
that's w to the 9th.
That's the answer. Okay, so now here is something, you know, I basically just did all the what? I did most of the, not only just the odds, but I did the what? The hard ones. Right, so now you're trying to figure out where do you stand. Right, if you looked at that and you thought, man, that was pretty easy, right, you probably just need a little what? Practice. So, again, all I'm asking you to do is to finish up the odds, which probably isn't that many. All right? But then the smart thing to do would be to go through and do some of the harder problems again and make sure, reinforce that you understand how we did. Because it looks easy as I'm doing it with you. When you sit down now and do it on your own, it might be a little different story. All right, so finish up the odds, and then you're checking the odds, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Check all of your work. What? I don't really care about the word problem right now. You're right.
So we're doing 27 to 40.
Whatever, you're doing the odds. All right, that's what you're doing. All right, the assignment is 1 through 17, 19 through 41, 45 to 55, doing the odds, right? And double checking and verifying that you're good with all of the hard problems.